I went to purchase a vehicle the other day, and let me tell you, never in my entire life have I been inundated with so many liars. I ended up dealing with 3 different salesmen because they had a hard time selling me on the car. In the end, though, they end up overcharging me with interest rate, and I didn't really realize it at the time, so I went ahead and signed the contract, and and the document says no cooling off period or anything like that. When you sign the contract, the deal is done. So I had signed the contract and went on about my way with my new car. And, I went home and I just kept thinking about it, and, I was like, interest rate was too high. It doesn't make sense. Cost of the car, the way that they treated me. I mean, my God. I mean, every sentence out of their mouth was a lie. As far as overcharging me, as far as telling me what I said when I know I hadn't said it, as far as them saying something and then them later on saying they never said it. And it was just too much. I mean, it was overwhelming. I just never in my entire life been inundated with so many lies in one day. I mean, I was just lied one lie after the other for like 3-4 hours. And then not only that, one man wanted to argue with me because I didn't want to go with his options, and because I decided to control how I was going to have the discussion. And so he got frustrated, and so I said, well, I'm not going to deal with him anymore. That's when the next guy came, and, he told me about the price. I said, well, let me look. I'm going to look up this price in Kelley Blue Book. And he was like, here, I'll look it up for you. Turns out the price of the car was $7,000 less than the first guy quoted to me. Ain't that a bitch? And so then I kind of expected the salesman to lie some, but that was a red flag right there for him to charge me $7,000 more than what the car was worth. Okay, I should have got up and left right then. So then the second thing, well, the third thing now, fourth thing, maybe fifth, sixth, because they lied so doggone much, I'm telling you. So the guy said, well, let me look it up. So he looked it up and he gave me a price. Well, when I got home, later found out he lied. And that's why he didn't want me to look up the price. So then he was overcharging me the amount too, okay? So then when I still wasn't satisfied with what they were offering, he's going to tell me like, well, I'm tired of begging you about getting this car. I'm tired of begging you. And he like walked away. And I'm like to myself, what the hell? I came here to negotiate. You talking about you begging me? I mean, what the fuck? So at that point, I decided to leave, and I went and I got in my car, started up the engine. I should have just stayed in my car and drove on. As soon as I'm getting in my car, before I can even close my doggone door, here come this other man running up, walking real fast up to me and everything, talking about, sorry about what he did, sorry about what he said, what can I do, I'm telling you, these motherfuckers are some snakes. You hear me? Snakes. Full of lies. So then this guy's up there talking about, well, what is it you need, what is it you want? And I was telling him what I want. He's like, well, we can't do that, but maybe we could do this and that and the other, and, come back and let's sit down. And me, naive enough, thinking, not realizing I was going to be dealing with a third liar, go back and sit down, and he's talking to me and everything. And when it gets down to signing, the papers, and he's like, well, I could refinance on the interest rate. And I'm thinking to myself, why do I have to refinance when I want to get the interest rate that I want to get right now? It don't make any sense to get this high ass interest rate and then have to go and refinance. And then to make it worse, they decided to charge me 3 additional interest rate points when my credit was better than that. You know what I'm saying? So I had excellent credit, and they treated me like I had bad credit. So, and then on top of that, I didn't want to get the service warranty, you know, that they try to sell you. I was like, nope. And so then the guy said, well, if you're not going to get this, we're going to raise your interest rate. I'm like, what the hell? You know, trying to force me again to do something they wanted to do so that they could make extra money. Not about me. You know, not about me. It's about them making as much money. And I said, I don't care how much you say you begging or whatever. I'm not getting this. Okay? And see, I shouldn't have even had to get to that point. You understand what I'm saying? But they are pressuring me. And so then eventually when I get to the place to actually sign the contract agreement, the binding agreement, I remember, I said, wait a minute, did the guy put this in there about, you know, cutting me the check about this? And he went and got the guy, and the guy came in. The guy told me, he said, I never told you that. And I said, yes, you did. We talked about it right out there at my car. You know, you said that, and he told me, I don't remember that. I didn't say that. I said, well, I remember. You know, that you said it. And he's like, well, I said you could refinance. I said, no, that's not what you said. You said I could get a check. So anyway, he kept denying it. And I was like, okay. So then I also looked at my contract, and they had added on $1,700. And I had already told them I didn't want no damn service warranty. All right? And they initially tried to charge me $2,500 for a service warranty. Now I'm looking at my contract. They done put $1,700 on there, and I didn't even agree. And I already told them I didn't want one. So, as you can see, I was dealing with snakes throughout the entire thing. And I'm telling you, when I got home, I was like, you know, wait a minute. I didn't like the way they treated me. They pressured me, they lied. I couldn't believe it. I was just overwhelmed with lies. And I was upset, and I was kind of angry because I'm like, wait a minute, you know, my credit too damn good to be getting this high as interest rate. Okay? And then the car was still overvalued that I found out. Shit, I could have just bought because this was like a pre-certified car. Shoot, I could have just brought me a brand new car for the amount they were charging me for the pre-certified one, you know, that had these miles on it. So I couldn't really sleep that night, and so I said, look. So I got up around 6 something, and like around 7:45 I left out of the house to go back up there and tell them, look, number one, you put, you know, additional $1,700 on this contract, and I didn't agree to that. Now, I had already set it up in my mind that since I had already signed the agreement, you know, I didn't have any bargaining power, because once you sign the agreement, it's binding. You know, and they could have said, well, you know, ma'am, you had the opportunity to look all that over before you signed the documents. So you went ahead and signed the documents. So, you know, there's nothing we can do about that right now. That's what they could have said. But fortunately, I got there. They hadn't arrived yet. So I'm out there, like, kind of like waiting. I'm waiting for them to come. Eventually one person comes. I get out of the new vehicle. I go in there, and I'm telling him, you know, because I had already made out my list of questions and concerns the night before. So the first thing I told him was that this was a charge put on there, that $1,700 that I didn't agree to, And then, I was telling them, pointing out some other things that was wrong with it. So he thought he was going to be smart, right? He said, well, it's be more trouble to redo the contract. He said, but so we could just tear up the contract. As like he thought I really wanted the car, so I was gonna say no. He thought I was gonna say no, don't do that. But I was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's tear up the doggone contract. So then he called his general manager, and he told me, he says, a lady here, she wants to cancel the contract because she's not happy, with this, that, and the other. And but in the grace of God, do you hear me? The grace of God. He was speaking to the general manager. The general manager said, okay. He gave the go ahead to tear up the contract. Isn't that something? So, do you hear me? So I'm sitting there waiting because he had to come in. Okay, he had to come in. So he was gonna be an hour. So I'm sitting there waiting, cause I ain't moving. I ain't going nowhere. Shoot, this contract is gonna be terminated, and I'm sitting my ass right there till he get there, so I could terminate this guy. I ain't want to give him no chance to change their mind. So anyway, one of the liars came up to me talking about, well, what's wrong with the contract? And I was like, well, I already talked it over with somebody else, because I was through with him. I ain't had nothing else to say to none of them. The only thing I was interested in was canceling this contract. So anyway, I think it was the general manager, somebody finally came, and he sat down with me, and he was like, what's wrong with it and stuff. And I had to ask him, was he the general manager, whatnot. And I started to tell him, and he was like, well, is there anything we can do, like, and I was like, the interest rate is too high, and the amount charged is too high, and all this and other. But I was like, I really don't want to waste your time, though. And I told him how they treated me and everything. And he said, well, I'm really sorry. I just want to apologize. I'm so sorry how they treated you like that. And he said, is there anything we can do? And I was like, I don't want to waste your time. So then he said, he pointed out to me on the contract. He said, well, you see here, it says no cooling off period. So really, you are bound by this contract. I heard him say that, and really, I just ignored that. It went in one ear and out the motherfucking other. And so I just explained to him, I said, the way they treated me and everything left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I'm sure you guys want me to be happy with my purchase, and right now I'm not happy with my purchase, And so he said, well, because they treated you the way that they treated you, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this contract. He said, hopefully that leaves a better taste in your mouth, and God bless. So there we go, right there. I was able to get out of the contract of purchasing this new vehicle. Now, that is highly unusual, especially right now when car sales have plummeted because of people losing their jobs because of this COVID-19 and unemployment spikes. And so these dealers, they really need to make these sales. They need to make these cars move. Okay? So this was they were desperate to sell these doggone cars. So even in this situation, God was watching over me, and things worked out, the right people, and the right time, and the timing was right. Everything was right. I got there early in the morning. I was there before anybody else was there. You understand what I'm saying? before anybody. I was there like, shoot, I said maybe they opened like 8 or so. So I was able to get there like 8. And I waited, you know. And it's a good thing I got there early because they hadn't processed, you know, my contract. So that was a good thing. And again, like when I said I wanted to cancel it, they could have told me right there, you know, sorry ma'am, you signed the contract, so there's nothing, you know, we can do about that. You know, you just have to try to sell the car. Something like that. But like I said, by the grace of God, and see, God knew that they were all snakes. They were all snakes. Like I say, I was so overwhelmed. I'd never come across so many people who lied so much in my life. I was just flabbergasted just by that alone. And then, you know, talking about I never told you that, or I didn't tell you that, or remember I said this. So denying what they said and then changing what they said and telling me what I didn't say, and making up lies about the stuff and trying to overcharge me and everything like that. They were snakes. As a matter of fact, I even dreamed about a snake. There was the snake waiting to bite, you know, when somebody was going to walk by, like the snake. Let's say like the snake was behind the couch, up under a table or something, a big long snake like a python. And, you know, he was just waiting, just lying still and waiting to see somebody just cross the path. Then once he saw movement, then he began to move closer. And then he would strike, just like a rattlesnake would strike, you know, and bite you real quick like that. Only this snake didn't have a rattler. Okay, so you didn't see it. And some people got bit by the snake, and I was being extremely careful, boy, maneuvering, walking around, because I knew that snake was there, okay? And then eventually I got tired. I'm like, don't y'all see this snake? Don't y'all see this snake right here? You know, we got to kill this snake. This is a dangerous snake right here. This snake is poisonous. This snake can kill us. Because it'll come out just when you least expect it. We're walking. Gotta kill this thing. So after some people got stung by the snake, bit by the snake and stuff, I was like, I'm tired of trying to, you know, get past the snake and worrying about when the snake is going to attack and where the snake is. So I picked up something, you know, like a chair or something, or table or something, and I started throwing it at the snake. I was just throwing it at the snake. I wanted to kill the snake. So I was hitting the snake and with this table and trying to cut it in two, you know, to rip it up. And I think I was able to break it in two. So what this symbolized, because this was a symbol, you know, dreams are symbols. So what this symbolized to me is those salesmen. Those salesmen were snakes, okay? And they were waiting, just lying in wait to see who they can take. You know, who they can take in and get and put the sting to. You know, who they can attack. Because let me tell you something. Whenever you dream about a snake, that's a warning. Dreaming about a snake is a warning, and you want to figure out what that snake represents, and you want to deal with it with the quickness, okay? Now with me, it was a little bit confusing because I dreamed about the snake the night of when the contract had been canceled. So I was like, why am I dreaming about this snake? I mean, who, you know, what person do I have to be aware of now? I mean, who is it? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a person. Snakes represent a bad a malicious situation or a malicious person, someone who could really do you harm, okay, is around. So I'm thinking the snake dream I had was symbolizing the interactions and the type of people I was dealing with. I'm telling y'all, these car salesmen, I mean, damn near every word came out of their mouth was a lie. Do you hear me? I don't know who's worse. I'm going to tell you this. I think salesmen are worse than politicians. I really do. Because politicians are at least slick enough, but these salesmen, I think they are worse. Because very little truth came out of their mouth. And they sold about 3 or 4 cars. And I can only imagine how they were ripping these people off. Because it was all about profit for them. They didn't care anything about you. They talk to you like they care about you. Them people don't give a damn about you. All they care about is how much money they can make off of you. And then if they can't make any money off of you, they ain't got nothing to say to you. You know what I'm saying? Damn being nice anymore. They ain't gonna say hello, how you doing, good morning, would you like something to drink, would you like some water? They ain't gonna be nice to you. They not gonna say nothing to you because you know used to them. You know good to them. They can't get any money out of you. So this was a serious lesson for me, and you best to believe I learned from this motherfucking lesson. Do you hear me? Lord have mercy. Oh my God, as far as questioning and trusting people, trust me, I went to school, they schooled the hell out of me because, you know, I tend to be an honest person. And these motherfuckers right here, they just made it clear to me that some of these people, they don't give a fuck about telling the truth. Fuck truth to them. They don't care. Honesty means nothing to them. Being honest doesn't get them what they want. So they will lie and say whatever they think they have to get what they want. I don't like people like that. And those truly are snakes, and we got a lot of snakes in our world. Okay? So, anyway, that's that. And I'm gonna dream some more to find out, make sure there are no more snakes coming up. But yeah, wanted to share that with y'all. Bye.